Okay, so I know I mentioned before that all of these relative imports can start to get pretty frustrating at times when you're not sure exactly how many dot dot slash dot dot slash whatever to put in there. And I actually prefer a different approach to this. And you might be looking at me saying like, wait, there's a different approach? And the answer is yes, there actually is. Create React App provides this cool little thing that you can do to turn all of your relative imports into absolute imports. Sort of, but it's absolute imports from the source directory. So it's treating any direct children from the source directory as absolute imports. So components, hooks, services, utils. And what that means, well, actually, you know what? I'm just going to show you how we do it, and then I'll explain it in a second. The first thing you want to do is you're going to touch a jsconfig.json file inside the root of your directory. So touch that file. It should be right here. And inside this jsconfig.json, you should add the following. We're going to say compiler options. Oh yeah, cool. So it's already helping us out here. It knows exactly, Create React App knows exactly what we need. Compiler options. And we're going to set the base URL equal to source. And then below that, we're going to say include source. Now, all this does is it says, hey, I want you to specify, and again, this is just some Create React App magic. I want you to specify the source directory as the base URL for our absolute imports. So instead of importing, and if we go into the hooks here, instead of importing /services API client, we can just do this. Services API client. Save it, and everything should work the same. We should see no errors here. Oh boy, it didn't. Maybe I have to restart this server. I think so. Maybe I totally led you astray, but I doubt it. Let's try you again. Come on, work with me. Ah, fantastic. Okay, and it works. Cool. That's what we're hoping for. Now, we can do this pretty much everywhere, and it's so much nicer than how we were handling things before. So in the register component, here, instead of doing // hooks, we can just say hooks, just like that. And everything should work the same. And so I think this is a nice little additional configuration option that makes developing just slightly easier. And these are the kind of things that I love about Create React App. Now, one thing that I almost always do when developing to make this easier is head into the components directory and create an index.js file. And then I export every single component from this index.js file and then import them wherever I need them. So what I do is I say export default as app from ./app/app. And I'll do this for every single component in my directory, in my entire application. Ooh, I am not good at copy paste right now. So we also want to do that for home, for login. We'll deal with icons in a second. Navbar, new post form, not allowed, not found. Make sure I can type. Post, post detail, register, stars, and stars input. So I'm just going to take these and copy paste them here. And again, all I'm doing here is I'm exporting every single component from the same file, so that anytime I want to import them, I can just import them all directly from the components directory. And so by exporting the default as a name here, I am exporting the default component, but I am exporting every single one from this application under the aliased name. So as the name of the actual component itself. And so doing this little fancy trick here, allows me to say in register here, if I'm importing a different component, this is not a good example. Let's find one that does. App's a really good example. So app here, we are importing a bunch of different components, right? Well, instead of doing all this, I can say, well, first of all, I can use my nice little absolute import here from services, but then I can just comment these out, and I can say import. Let's do this in alphabetical order because that's nice. Home, login. Let's see if I can get this alphabetical order right. I almost always have to say the alphabet in my head whenever I do alphabetical order, but it does make it more fun. Let's see. I think P comes before post detail, comes before register, and from components, just like that. So now we are importing every single component from the components directory because the index.js file exports all of them by default. So now we have access to all of them right here. And now this file is much shorter and it looks nicer. And we have this cool little trick that makes everything work just the same. No difference, but in general, our components are shorter, smaller, and we know exactly where to import every single component from. We import it from the same place. So we're not trying to figure out like .. / whatever. You just say import this from components. So two cool little hacks, just makes the development life a little bit easier. I use them pretty much everywhere. So just at least showing you the ropes or some of the internal stuff that makes life better. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and head into the login component and handle that. But first, let's save our work and end our video here. So we'll say git status, git add, dot, git commit, reconfigured UI to use absolute imports. Great. We're good to go.